everybody. Welcome to the Canine Connection podcast. Today, Lori and I are going to talk about scent articles because we've gotten a lot of requests and questions about it. So I figured we would talk about how we handle it because we do handle it. Well, at least I do, but you probably do too. But I won't put words in your mouth. I handle it different than other exercises because, first of all, there's a component in there where the dog is doing something that I have no idea what they're doing or experiencing, right? Because we don't understand sniffing. I mean, we understand it to the extent we do, but I would imagine it's extremely limited based on what the dog experiences and is able to do with their nose compared to what we can do with our noses. So, so I definitely handle things differently because of that aspect. And I find that with this exercise, which is actually, we should probably do this more with all exercises, is I intervene very little. Um, and I kind of tend to let them figure things out more again because I don't know exactly what they're experiencing moment by moment. And I don't want to give them information that could end up being confusing, right? So, you have to be super, super careful, in my opinion, with scent work.
Mhm.
So there are a bunch of different methods, right? None of which are wrong. Several of which I have used in the past very successfully. However, something very interesting happened because I now and have for a long time, clicker trained my puppies from 7 weeks old. They Clicker training teaches them how to think and solve problems, right? So they're thinking and solving, right? How do I get the click? What do I need to do? And they become creative and proactive. So I was using the around the clock method at the time, and very short order, I think after, like, maybe week 1 and a half, it's like a 7-week process. I'm like, "I don't think my dog is sniffing." My dog
Hmm.
memorized the pattern. So it was using their thinking brain instead of sniffing.
Mhm.
And I went to, someone at the time that I trusted, and I'm like, "Look at this. What do you think?" And they're like, "Oh my god. The dog's like, it memorized the pattern." I'm like, "I know." Right? And I think another dog did that. So anyway, I was like, "Okay, this is crazy." It is a sniffing exercise. Dogs know how to sniff, right? I'm gonna talk to a nose work instructor. So I contacted Stacy Barnett, and I'm like, "How would you teach scent articles? Cuz it's a sniffing exercise, for God's sakes. I want my dog to just sniff, right?" Um so that's when I started the method I use now, which I like a lot, um because it is just sniffing. Now, again, here's a situation where, and I think this is where very many people go wrong with scent articles, is when the dog's learning, or even when the dog, quote unquote, knows it, when the dog makes a mistake, we intervene and we're like, no, that's wrong. And I think a lot of times that blows the dog's confidence because who knows what happened in that
Exactly.
moment.
Yep.
And you could be saying to the dog, so here's a perfect example. and we'll go back to we'll go back to, like, how I teach it step by step, but, so I taught my puppy, I think it was Zesty, I forget, this method where, it's just on these, like, metal boxes, and the dog sniffs around and finds the right one, and I progressed through this whole process very quickly, like, very quickly, because, otherwise, because I don't wanna create, like, a pattern, right? I just keep sniffing. So one day, I'm outside, I'm at work, I put them outside, right? And it's probably windy, breezy, whatever. And he runs to the item, starts sniffing, does what uh, could appear to be leaves the pile completely, like, just leaves. Like, he's not even what we would call in the pile, right? Like, he's over off to the side. Thank God I said nothing. Because what he did was he went downwind, so which brought him out of the pile, and by then he turned into the wind and frickin' beeline straight to the correct article.
Mhm.
Now, if I had said to the dog, "No, you're wrong. Get in that pile and find it," how is the dog gonna interpret that?
Right.
Because it was finding it. It was doing exactly what I told it to do,
Right.
but me and a lot of people would have said jumped in and been like, "Dog, don't do that. That's wrong." Uh, it wasn't wrong at all. He
It's
was
actually, like, when I think about how this exercise is even scored in AKC, really, like, when you get down to the nitty-gritty and the nuances of what this exercise is, which is sniffing, finding odor, and how it's scored with, like, the dog must be constantly in the pile, working the pile, and you see dogs, we all have seen them leave the pile a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, they'll lift their
Mhm.
heads, like, all those little things that we see really, and those things can be scored, really has, like, everything to do with them still being an odor a lot of the times. I just had to point that out because 'cause I'm, like, thinking about all that.
Yeah. No, it's so true. It's like how and you will see certain breeds, which is always really fascinating, like, Shelties will do this sometimes, not all Shelties, but, where they'll go to get to the article pile, and they'll just start circling it with their head up,
Yep,
which
yep,
looks like they're not working the pile,
right.
but they're absolutely working odor. They're just working it high. Their head is not
Exactly.
down. And something about our training, even with the method I've done, because just the other day I'm standing there and I'm like so annoyed because I'm like, what am I doing that's causing this?
Right.
Because I send Zesty out to the article pile, like, I'm in the park, I'm like, "Go get the article," and he runs out, and he goes to the pile, and he starts sniffing each article, I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, this you should be, like, air scenting it as you go in, like, he doesn't search the article pile the same way he searches in nose work,
Mhm.
right? So there's something that is inherent in, like, either in the context of, oh, it's obedience, and then maybe they just automatically go into more, like, thinking mode
Yeah. I don't
or
know.
something, like, so I'm gonna be pondering this now for a while, and, like, because it makes me crazy because, Tyler, oh my god, he did the best articles, like, he would run to the pile. And as he got to the pile, he would do one of 2 things. He would either literally go to the correct article, pick it up immediately, and come back, or he would go to a quadrant, and he would just search that quadrant, pick up the article, and come back.
Yeah.
He never went. Now, I think because in his case, he did field work, so that's what he did first, and I didn't teach him articles when he was a puppy, so maybe I shouldn't be doing scent when they're puppies, I don't know. So he learned I think he learned scenting in the field first.
Yeah.
Then, because I wasn't as experienced later, I don't think it was when he was 5 or 6, maybe it was maybe when he was a year or 2, or maybe it was, like, after his. Because I think back in the day, we used to say, "You can't teach article until after they have hold, and you can't teach hold until after they're done teething," right? So, I don't know what it was, but, like, that's how he did his articles, and that's how I envision, and my dogs will quite often do that.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of times when they go in and they sniff each article, and I'm always
Yeah.
like, "God, that's so weird." That's, like, such overkill for a dog,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Because, like.
Well, because like, so see, my thing too, like, I this is my favorite. I think this is my favorite exercise. It's fascinating to me, and I absolutely love watching the dogs and reading the dogs when they're doing this. And I too, like, I think with a lot of like, teaching scent articles and AKC obedience is like it is it's a big visual piece too. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm,
because we were like, "Look, here it is. They're all out here." Like, right there's a huge visual component to it, opposed to not having the actual tangible visual item they're searching, like if you were
mm,
doing nose work. And what I have found, so that piece, like, I feel like how we all the methods that we most people train articles with has that visual component to it. Like, we're like, "Look, we're putting them out, tin boxes, articles, whatever." So right there, we're taking away a little bit of that hunt
mhm,
aspect of it, like, like, eat just hunting, searching for odor. And what I have found, like, with Salty, what I did, remember I had all that weird stuff with him?
mhm,
He was fucking confused.
mm-mm, I don't
And
remember.
yeah, I remember you came and you were like, "He's
Oh,
just fucking confused," because he was leaving the pile like, "I don't fucking know what you want me to do." But anyway, that's a
mm,
different thing, but we resolved it. But what I did a lot with him after I had some of the garbage in his articles was I don't do nose work with my dogs, but I was like, I really want him, because I think about, like, the detection dogs and the nose work dogs, like, all the things that they do, and everything is just, like, based on, like, that hunting for odor. And so, because I didn't do any of that stuff, I started doing, like, toy hunts. Like, I would put his ball or his bumper hidden, especially out in hikes. I do a lot of that stuff. And with him, I was like, I really need him to just start using his nose, like, that,
mhm,
the hunt piece of it. That was a huge fucking game changer for him. And once I started putting that in and then matching, like, doing his articles, I saw this huge difference. Like, even though that was such a visual component still there for him, he runs out to the pile now, and I can see it. Like, he's just all about it's all odor in his brain, and he just boom, grabs it. Like, he'll do this, like, little head snap thing, like, boom, he doesn't check anything else, grabs the freaking article and comes back. However, what I do see with him is if I do see all of a sudden where he's, like, starting to sniff things, usually then there's, like, distraction involved with him. I can see it, like, either somebody's working a dog close by, somebody just threw the dumbbell, somebody's got or I, like, left all this junk on the floor, a bag, a toy.
mhm,
Then there's, like, a distraction component in there. Like, it kicks him out of, like, the whole odor drive thing.
mm.
He, like, forgets what
Yeah,
he's
because now he's thinking about
Yes,
what's going on, and that takes him
yes.
out of sniffing and
It
into
does. It's
thinking.
just
Yeah.
fascinating to
Well,
me.
so maybe you need to do those search games,
Mhm,
a
mhm,
version of them around distractions, right? What
totally.
I have done with I don't remember which dog, but I did do this and it worked really well, which is, um why I got into this is why I got into scent work with Zesty is because I didn't like he used to search nicely, then all of a sudden he was searching every article and I was like, I gotta do something different. I was like, oh, I remember one time I had a dog and I would scent the article and hide it like in the garage, right?
Yep,
So it wasn't visible, so he had to sniff it out. And then
yep,
I would did that for a few weeks. I would just scent it and hide it in different places, and he just like, where he couldn't see it, and he had to sniff, and that helped the dog when I then went back to scent articles, the dog was like, "Oh, sniff."
right.
So I was like, "Maybe I'll do that with Zesty." And then I thought to myself, "Oh, wait, didn't Riley do little nose work games with him? Let me see." And then I did it, and he did it perfect, and I was like, "Oh, let me do nose work." But so the concept of, like, hide send the article, but hide it so it's
Yep,
not visible and let the dog sniff, right? And then do that around distractions, like, out of the context of the pile, so
yep,
he learns to not come out of that sniffing mode
y
even when distractions are around,
right,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, because it probably just switches which part of his brain
It
he's
does, but
using.
that's,
Yeah,
like that's what fascinates me,
that's
like,
so interesting.
and I think that's what happens to a lot of dogs, like, where, like, I'll have clients come and they'll be like, "Oh my god, my dog's been doing articles, like, brilliantly for whatever, 6 months, and now my dog's running out and just snatching the article." Like, I love problem solving that stuff because it's not that the because most people have fucking heart attack when this stuff happens.
Mhm,
I think people just get so caught up with the errors of articles, like, I see it, like, when people are watching their dogs go out to the pile, I'm like, "You need to fucking relax. Your whole face right now, you act like this is a, like, death situation if the dog gets it wrong, like, freaking relax." But most of the time, like, there's a reason for it, like, something happened in your training which switched gears in the dog, like, and I think that's why, like, I handle it like glass. I tell people, "You need to be so fucking careful on what you're doing," kinda like what you said in the beginning of this episode, like, because we do stupid shit, like, in our handling, which is delivering information to the dog, even when the dog is not really necessarily making a mistake, but they're either distracted or something happened. I don't know really.
we're confused. Well, I think
Confused.
part of it too is we don't understand scent, and then different people tell us
Yeah.
different things, right? So, like, I have a student, I had her, start doing articles with her dog. She's going through the process. Everything's working fine. The dog's doing great. There's no hitches. It's going smooth as glass. Progressing beautifully. She's so proud. She's new to the sport. She posts it, and then it starts, right? "Oh, well, you need to." I'm like, "That's not even a thing." "You need to do this with this." I'm like, "That's not like,
Yep.
you're talking about," you know, like, here's a perfect example. Like, we used to think the dog was finding our scent, right? So
Yes.
that's
This
what we
is a
believe.
huge freaking argument I have with
That's what
people.
we
Oh my god.
believed, right? They're finding our scent.
People still believe this.
Yeah.
Lots
So
of people.
then I had to train Tyler for scent work in Europe for crafts for World Cup, right? So theirs is different. Their scent is for as long for the same amount of time that I'm scenting the item that he's got to find, the steward is scenting the item. So there's going to be two items out there with the same amount of scent on it. One is from the steward, one is mine. So in this case, the dog is truly meant to find my scent.
Yep.
All right. Tyler was the most honest dog on the planet Earth. So he would run out And if he came across the other person's scented item, he would pick it up with no hesitation, absolute confidence, no doubt in his mind that that was the correct item and come running in, right? If he got to that one first, if he got to mine first, he would bring that one back. So, you know, we would be like he would get the other one, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not gonna even tell him that's wrong because he is 100% convinced that's right." So he's
Mhm.
confused. So that's when we figured out he was grabbing hot scent,
So
not my scent, hot scent. So then we had to go back to square one and reteach him scent in terms of discrimination, right?
right,
And I've recently encountered this with Zena when I in Nosework level 2, um when they do containers like boxes, right? So there's a ton of boxes out there. One or two will have the correct odor and one or two will have distractions in them like food, right? But it doesn't matter. It's there's odor in the box, but it's not the odor they've been taught to find, right?
right.
So if Zaina can't quickly, relatively quickly, all right, I'm not going to get it down into the weeds of what I did, but she couldn't find there. She was not coming across the target odor with the thing she should find. And
Mhm.
so she found a container with food in it and she indicated it because she went, here's odor, right? So it's a similar problem, right?
Right,
She's just saying, here is odor. And no, it's basically a discrimination task, right? Not
right,
that odor, this odor. So in essence, if my dog is supposed to find my odor, then that's a discrimination task. You're finding mine, not something else. But
right,
the reality is our dogs in scent articles, they're not doing that. They're finding the hot one. And if you're not sure about that, try it. Like my dog, I if I had Lori, I've done this with people, okay? If I said to you, "Go do scent articles with my dog would do it perfectly fine
yep,
because it's looking for hot scent. It's not
yep,
looking for my scent. If it was looking for my scent and you sent it my article, then my dog would run out there and go, "I can't find it."
right,
But it doesn't. It'll run out there. It's the second it gets to yours, it'll grab it and come running back in. It'll go, "Yep, I got the right one." Because my
yep,
dogs are finding hot scent,
scent, yep,
right? So when people freak out about other people touching your articles and, the stewards are coming out with their tongues and all this crap, and I'm like, yeah, 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 it's fine. And they wash their articles, and I don't wash my articles. I never wash my articles. I
me
don't spray
neither,
them. I
no,
take the used article, I throw it immediately back in the bag. I
same,
don't air them out. I don't outside. Like, I don't do any of that, and guess what? My dogs are rock solid on articles because 'cause
yeah,
they're finding hot scent.
yeah, yep,
So, first and foremost, let's be clear. It's hot scent, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um, so so basically, it's not a discrimination exercise, right? It's just finding the hot scent, which should make it even easier because that should be so easy to distinguish that from the other articles. Now, where that can be a challenge is like last year at the NOC
mhm,
when um the steward wasn't did what they were instructed. They were told um take the next dog's articles, pick them up in your hands. Hold them so that as soon as the other dog leaves, you can walk into the ring with them and then
and
put
be
them
ready,
down.
yep,
Except the person, and I have it on tape, held my art picked up my articles, with Zaina, right? Thank God it was Zaina. And then there was a delay, right? There was some delay. Doesn't matter. This is not anybody's fault. This is what happened, right? So now I'm outside the ring, and now I'd already known, I saw what they were doing, so I had a strategy. I'm going to be right by the ring gate. the second the person leaves, I'm gonna be right there ready to go in. I'm gonna go in. I don't have a long process of showing my dogs anyway. It's like split second. I'm like, we're doing articles. My dogs turn their head, right? Um, and I had it all planned out. So now I'm standing there and there's this big delay. And I'm like, oh, for God's sakes. Because I know this entire time the steward is holding the articles, which means what? They're getting hot.
Yeah. There
I'm
yeah.
not concerned about their scent. They're making the articles hot. Right? So then finally they go in. I like practically run to my setup spot, sit my dog, show my dog the pile. I look up and the person's standing, and my dog immediately looks away because my dogs understand. They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't need to stare at the pile. I know what we're doing. And I don't make them stare. I just turn around.
Same.
Except, thank God I picked up my head because the steward is trying to quote unquote help me by not putting the articles down because it's like your dog's not looking, right? And I'm like, put them down
Oh my
because
god, that
my
was so
dog's not gonna fucking look. So now I'm like, okay, let me take my time. Let me send my article longer. I'm like,
yeah.
oh my fucking God, right? So later we looked, because you could time it on the video, like 30 I don't know, anyway, it was a really long time. So obviously I've proof for that since then. But she runs out, she goes to pick up my article, and I see her face, and she's like, "Wait, something's fucking weird with this pile," right? And this is where, thank God, I have this nonverbal communication with my dogs. And she like hovers for a split second over the correct article. And I look at her, and in my head, I go, "You're right. Come on, come in." She takes two or three steps towards me, and you can see, well, I could, my training partner could. You may not be able to, but that she's about to put it down and go back and double check because she's like, "I don't know, man, something was weird with this pile." And I look at her and I'm like, "Come. You're right. Come." And she did, thank God. And then the next one, she was fine because by then some of the odor had dissipated, right?
Right.
Um, but rightly so because she knew some of the other ones were hot as well, right? So that's something I have to proof for. But like, so then I went home and we started proofing for that and we proofed for it. Um, we periodically do that just as a fun proof. And you can see that of all the proofs I do with my dogs is the most challenging one for them.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's like hot scent on hot scent for sure.
Yeah. And that's hard for, because so anyway, the other thing is sometimes dogs, when they're especially when they're learning or when there's like a challenge in there, right? Like when you're making it harder,
Mhm.
they will either appear to like leave the pile or sometimes I've seen them just put their nose on the ground, like as
Mhm.
if they're sniffing the ground,
Mhm.
but they're not. They're processing.
Right.
So again, if in that moment you say to the dog, "Hey, don't do that," and now mind you, it gets very tricky because they're still in the pile. And what are they sniffing? Maybe some odor pooled there.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? Or maybe they're processing.
Right.
Do you really want to be telling the dog, "No, don't do that"?
Right.
Or how about
Well,
talk
because
about
see,
that
this is
example with Salty that you sent me? Say what you're gonna say now that I just cut you off, but
no,
also
no,
share that
no.
story.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's just that, like, I think a lot of it, I go back to how this exercise is scored. Like if the dog puts their nose to the ground, it's scoreable. They're really, according to the rules, the dog is not working the pile. This is where I have like issues with this whole exercise on how it's judged because then that's what bleeds into then training because then people have a heart attack if their dog fucking isn't putting their nose on the articles and the dog accidentally put or not accidentally, but their dog goes to put their nose to the ground because 'cause they're processing. Like, if well, you do it. Like, if you watch dogs hunt and search for odor without any visual there, they don't like, there's processing. There's, like, a
Mhm.
whole thing, what they do, like, finding odor, thinking their way through it, following the odor, then I don't know, you know more about, like, you could describe that more than me, but I think that's what happens with people because then the second the dog puts their nose to the ground, they're like, "Hey, don't do that." And that's what
Mhm.
leads into all the freaking problems with articles. Or the dog lifts their heads up, maybe steps out of the pile for a second. Hey, get back in that pile. Like, so that's like what we were talking about. Like, we are inadvertently correcting things where the dog's actually still working odor,
Yeah,
processing
and it
odor.
ruins their confidence. It ruins their confidence, and then I
Right.
think it causes
Yeah.
confusion because sometimes they're like, "Well, then what am I supposed to be doing? Maybe I'm not supposed to be sniffing, like, maybe I'm not."
Exactly. Exactly, and that's how easily things could get, like, fucked up, and, like, the flip happens, like, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna grab maybe you just want me to take any article, I'm just gonna grab one and come
Or
in."
they panic, so they're like, "I'll just grab one and maybe that's right," and then the more
Exactly.
pressure people put on them, the worse it gets. Like, I
Right,
do
right,
the
right.
opposite, and this is, like, hilarious to me to this day. I do this and people are like, right? Like, I'm really big on saying yes to my dog as soon as it picks up the right article, and that
Right.
is, like, so unheard of. Like, "Oh, you never do that because then the dog relies on that, and then the dog drops the article," and all these shenanigans, right? And I'm just like, it's all about timing and information, right? So I do this when my dog's learning, and I do this anytime I add a challenge, and I do this anytime my dog struggles either in training or in the ring, right? As soon as a dog hits the correct article, I'll say yes. And yeah, at that point, they are allowed to drop the article or not pick it up and come running out of the pile. And
Yep.
it's never been a problem. Right.
Right.
But what it does is you'll see on their face this like immense relief, like, oh, thank God. I was correct. Right. And you don't
Mhm.
need to obviously do it forever, but like I remember one time I was trialing Zaina. I can't remember exactly what happened, but she was in the pile, like she was struggling. I don't know why. And it doesn't matter. I don't need to know. All I know is she was struggling, right? And she finally, I don't remember if she picked an article up, put it down, or if she was just having a hard time finding the right one. Soon as she found the right one, now I was qualifying. You know what I did? I said yes, which flunked me, but I did not care. I cared about longevity. And her face, she was like, "Oh, thank God."
Yep.
Right? So then it was like multiple trials over 2 days. So the next trial, I went in with her. Again, she's qualifying. She runs in, she goes out to the articles. Immediately, pretty quickly finds the correct one, goes to pick it up. There was an infinitesimal hesitation, right?
Mhm.
Like this teeny, like, I immediately said yes.
Yep.
Blew the class again, right? Knock on wood, from that point on, the dog never flunked another article
Yep.
because I don't know what caused that confusion, whatever. It doesn't matter. Because I'm not a dog. Right? All I wanted was her to know that she was correct. "Yep, you're right. Yep, you're doing it right. Yep, you're on the right track." And it was worth it to the nth degree.
Yep.
And anytime dogs are unsure, or uncertain or whatever, I just go back to that. I just yes them the minute
Yeah.
they find it,
Yep.
and it fixes it every time.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, and also too, like, if you go back to, you know, it's if you really kind of divide up the pieces of this exercise, really for most people, the majority of the time you're reinforcing is the actual end piece of them actually the retrieve piece of them coming back, like the recall retrieve piece when they're carrying the
Yeah,
article back
either
to
the
you.
front or the finish.
Right, and we're really never like, it's all about too, like, breaking up the chains and reinforcing not always the end of the chain, right? Is making sure you're putting reinforcement throughout the chain, in the middle of the chain, and that piece of actually the indication piece, the actual moment the dog indicates, "Oh my god, this is it," like, that doesn't get, in my opinion, reinforced enough in people's training of
Mm-mm.
this exercise for sure, which is also a confidence builder that the dog is correct in finding odor, which is what this exercise is all about, right? So, I think people, like, they need to remember that, like, it's the same with all the other exercises we do, like, make sure you're reinforcing, the beginning, the middle, and the end pieces as much as everything else, like, you're equally distributing that. I think it has to also be said for this one too, but people have a panic attack, like you said. They have a freaking panic attack. I mean, and yes, you can't do it every time, like you said, like, I'll just go back to it if I need to. You can't do this all the time because yes, it can cause some problems where the dog is then can become reliant on it if it's like every freaking time for X amount of months that you're yesing them out of the pile. But yeah, I think it's super important, and it does, like, it pays in spades for a dog who might lose some confidence out there, which they will. That happens.
And I
Uh
just do it sometimes for motivation. Like,
Totally, and they're like,
every
"Holy shit," like
yeah. Every
yeah,
couple weeks or for sure after a multiple trade trial or whatever, I'll do them in my yard, and as soon as they find the right one, I just go, "Yes," and I toss
yeah,
a toy, right?
yeah,
Or, "Yes," and I toss a cookie, right?
right, right,
Again, no, not every training session, but for sure that gets thrown in because we reinforce, like, the drop for the drop on
yep,
recall, or we
right,
reinforce the dog well, not everybody, but you should, when a dog picks up the dumbbell or, whatever the case.
yep,
So for sure, you should be doing that there because
yeah,
that's the critical piece, right? If I add a challenge to my training, right? Like, there's a toy around or whatever, and my dog's like, "Oh, oh," and it like, work is like, oh God,
yep,
this is hard, this is hard." As soon as it picks up the right article, I'm like, "Yes," because that's the piece that I care about. Like, you just pushed through this challenge and you did it correctly. Good
right,
job. Conversely, if in that scenario my dog makes a mistake, I don't make it into a capital offense. Like, I just don't make a big deal about it. I'm just like, "Nah, let's try that again."
yep,
Right? That
yep,
wasn't the right one. Let's just try that again. Right?
yep,
You can do it. And if I need to mate and usually on the second try they're fine, right? Maybe I just or maybe if it's too hard, I need to make the challenge a little bit easier so the dog can be correct. But for sure, I'm not going to be adding pressure because and again, on the timing, like, the more I add pressure, the more likely the dog's just gonna run out and grab something, or the dog's gonna hurry, 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 and then the dog's gonna make a mistake. You also
yeah,
need to
yeah,
sometimes understand, like, sometimes my dog's runs out and it's just being a little hasty and they pick up the one next to it, right? Now, if I have a young dog and it just picked up the article next to the correct one, and I start going, "No, that's wrong." Again, the dog might think, "Oh, but I was in odor.
yep,
Oh, then maybe I'm not supposed to be going
to
to the thing
odor,
in
yeah,
odor."
yep,
Right?
oh, god.
It was just like an innocent mistake,
Yeah,
right?
that
Maybe you
and
need to
yeah, yeah, that's a good point because I wanna just say that, like, how like, handling the errors, like, especially sometimes they just make a fucking mistake, like, we all make
Mhm,
mistakes, right? Like,
mhm.
some again, like, don't have a freaking heart attack over it. Sometimes your dog just made a mistake, and like you said, sometimes we never know why. Sometimes you just aren't gonna know why. S Sometimes, yeah, like you said, like, it coulda just been as simple as that freaking article was right next to that one, and, like, you gotta think about other things, like, arousal. Like, you get a dog that
Mhm.
gets spun up over it, that is gonna cause a dog to, like, not have clear thinking out there. They're gonna be, like, jacked up, like, they're gonna make errors. Anyway, handling the error, like, if they come back with the wrong one, first of all, I personally, and this is a big thing of mine, really strongly feel like I need my dog to just come back with whatever they took, right? Like,
Mhm.
I let them come
Mhm.
back. I look exactly like I look as if they were correct. I let them come back. They sit in front of me, they whatever, uh, and I take it, and all I do is I just immediately set them back up, and I just resend them as if it was just the first time going out. That is enough for my dogs at this stage of my experience to let my dog know that that was the incorrect article, or it's just a reset, go try again. And that does not deflate my dogs at all. But what's really important about this piece is that I want my dog to always, in especially like for trialing, is even if they're having some issues out there or whatever the reason is, I want them always to just bring back what they think is right and to come all the way back in. Because at the end of the day, if you get a dog who starts having confidence issues, um, second guessing themselves, like, the last thing I want them to do is to drop that article and go back and search, because there have been times where they actually have the right article in their mouth, right? And you don't want
Mhm.
doing that. Like, that's a huge one for me.
Well,
Um,
and people create that problem because a very
yeah,
common way to handle an error is the dog starts to come in and the person says, "No." The
yep,
dog drops it and they point at the dog, "Go back to that, you go right back to that pile and you
yep,
find that right one." And what happens is, first of all, in that moment, the dog goes, "Oh shit." And now
yep,
it's not in a good frame of mind.
right,
Highly likely it's going to make another error. Secondly, it's doing exactly what you said, which is saying if you doubt yourself, drop it, go back and keep looking, which
right,
sometimes the dogs then, like, over time, they'll find the right one, drop it, double
yep,
check, like, you all these errors you created, right? Or the dog is unsure, it doesn't commit. Um, and it just is not, it's a strategy that I've seen people do over and over, and it
yep,
very rarely yields productive results, right? Much more effective is exactly what you described. Let the dog come in, take it out. "Sorry, buddy. Let's just try that again." And it gives the dog a little bit of time to process, take
yep,
some of that pressure and stress out of it, resend the dog. If the dog does it wrong again, well, maybe, okay, I need to figure out something else,
why?
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
why? I mean, that's the big thing is, like, people across the board handle errors, not just in the send articles, as to the dog, "You made a mistake," right? And this is why these prior 2 episodes where we talked about reading dogs is so important. The why absolutely matters. Like,
yeah,
why the dog made the mistake 300% matters. And if I'm not sure, for darn sure, I'm not gonna say to my dog, "That
bad
was
dog.
wrong,"
Right, right,
because I don't even know what happened. Right?
right.
Ideally, I have an idea, right? Like, like, where was I recently? I don't know, and the dog kinda swept out of the pile a little and came back in, and the person was about to say something, I'm like, "Don't," and I'm like, "Why did that happen?" "I don't know." I'm like, "We were right." I'm like, "The, air conditioning is blowing right." I said, Go stand in the pile."
Yep,
"Oh, I feel the air blowing on the pile." "Yep."
yep,
Right? So you were gonna say something to your dog? No. So you gotta make sure, what's the airflow doing, right?
yep,
Is your dog confused? Oh, here's another one. This one is huge and, like, highly underrated. Um, okay, this happened one day at a match to 2 dogs in a row. Utterly fascinating to me. go out, do my glove, right? Pre-cue, flip, pivot, send my dog to the glove. Go so the setup for the glove is the middle of the ring. Go to the front of the ring, do my whole article situation, right? It obviously looks different, the whole 9 yards. Send my dog to the article pile, my dog runs out to where the glove was. So the dog, just even though there's all this other scenting, blah, 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 the pivot was confusing the dog. So I've had different scenarios, and I've had this with my dogs and with multiple students' dogs, where they were confusing the glove with the article. So what I do for that is I pre-cue, pivot, do one article, then go over, pre-cue, pivot, do a glove, then come back, pre-cue, pivot, do an article,
Yep,
go
yep,
over, pre-cue, pivot, do a glove. And then I get it to where I bring the article pile closer and closer to where the glove is. And like now my advanced dogs, if they truly understand the pre-cue, I could have the gloves, I can literally put gloves in front of and around my article pile, send to the articles. My dogs won't even look at the glove. Then do the same thing, pre-cue my glove, send my dog, and it'll pick up the glove. And it'll like a dog, my dogs will run over the article pile to go get the glove, right?
yeah,
Um, Obviously, that's not how I start it. But you would be surprised how many dogs will be utterly and completely confused. Another scenario was I had a student, her dog would sometimes run out to the dumbbell and like stand there with its like nose over it for a second before it picked it up. And she wanted to like be like, naughty dog, you need to pick failure to retrieve. And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know, let's not do that. I need to figure out what's happening here," right? And I don't even think I figured it out that session, but then all of a sudden, I see her one day doing the pre-cue for the article, and I went, "Show me your pre-cue for your dumbbell." Huh, look the same. Fix that. Guess what? The dog was confusing the dumbbell in the article, so it would run out to the, dumbbell and go, "Is this an" "No, we're doing retrieve," and then pick it up. Fix the pre-cue, did the comparison, and I've done this comparison with some dogs, and some dogs were confused with that as well, right? Pre-cue, dumbbell, pre-cue, article, pre-cue, dumbbell, pre-cue, article makes it super clear in the dog's head. Behaviors go away.
yep,
So with some dogs, especially if they tend to look unsure or confused or do something weird on the first article, but not on the second, there's often confusion. Because
yep,
by the second article, they've been out there and like, okay, I know what we're doing.
right.
So I find that a lot. And people always think I'm crazy. They always look at me like I can see it on their face. They're like, that's ridiculous. It's not that. And then lo and behold, they go and do it, and they're like, "Well, I'll be. You're right.
Yep,
It was
yep,
that." So I
yep,
do that now with all my dogs, just par for the course, because I just think it makes, even if they don't have confusion, I think it makes it more clear to them,
yeah,
right? This is the
100%.
glove exercise, it's a retrieve. This is the dumbbell exercise, it works like this. This is the article exercise, it's a sniffing exercise.
Right.
And so it helps really, but a lot of dogs are confused.
Yeah, yep, distinguishing for sure.
Yeah. Um,
100%.
and again, it goes back to what you were saying, that weird visual thing, right? Because like in nose work, they don't see
Yeah,
it, so they rely on sniffing.
yep,
Dumbbells look like articles to a dog,
yep,
right? And then I know people are gonna go, well, my dumbbell doesn't look anything like my article, neither does mine. But you know what? To a dog, it looks very similar.
yeah, and they're just trying, I
And
feel
they're
like.
just trying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, definitely.
Um So as far as method, I mean, look, I really believe that there are many methods that are
Yep,
successful and they're
yeah,
fine. What I do now is I take metal switch boxes, but it's basically just a metal item. It doesn't have to be metal necessarily, but I sent it. It's got an opening. It's got holes in it, right? And I can put the cookie right under it. So initially, I put a bunch of them out.
Well,
I
what's nice about those too is they're heavy. So, um, the
Right, so they
dog
can't, like, toss them around. They're
yeah, they
yeah.
can't fling them, toss them. Most of them don't necessarily wanna pick them up, so that's
Yeah,
why
and they're
I
well ventilated, and they're
yeah,
open on the bottom. So, I sent it, I put a cookie under it. It's, like, super informal, and the dog goes out. As soon as it indicates the correct one, I go, "Yes," and I flip it, and I give it a bunch of cookies on top of the item, right?
yeah,
Now, the whole thing with this scent thing is that, as with everything that I teach, I progress very quickly
yep,
because
same,
I feel like people stay at certain steps
right,
way too long,
yeah,
right? And then the dog gets stuck because it thinks that
that's it.
scenario, yeah, is the end behavior, right? And
Well,
then
that too, like, that's going back to criteria. I tell my students that all the time. Like, you need to watch it because it's not your final criteria, right? Like, that's where you have to be careful because if you stay there too long, the dog will think this is what we do, right? This is the criteria. And then when you go to change it, they get confused. So, in the teaching stages, you need to progress. Like, I always tell my students, like, if they are doing successful reps once, 2 times, like, 2 days in a row, move on. You can
move
always
on.
go back. Like, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, and for sure, if like sometimes I go too fast and my dog gets a little like blah, and I'm like, sorry, bud, I could just go back. I review the
Yes.
past couple steps really quick, and they're like, oh, got it. I'm like, okay, good. Let's keep moving, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that balance,
Yeah.
right? But especially with this, if you get stay on one step too long, and I've seen it happen with students, the dog gets kind of stuck. So
Yeah.
very quickly, I wean off the food,
Yep.
like very quickly, right?
Yep.
Dog doesn't need it. And as soon as the dog indicates the correct one, I go, yes. And I do multiple cookies on top of the correct tin. Now, me personally, I teach a nose touch indication separately, and then that's what my dog does. You don't need to do that. The problem is with most students, if
They
they
don't
don't
know.
yeah, if they don't have the dog do a very clear indication, what happens is if the dog just passes near or is passing over the correct one, because the trainer knows it's the correct one, they'll go yes, and the dog wasn't even indicating it yet.
Yeah,
And
correct. Yeah.
now the dog's, like, relying on you, and now the dog starts guessing because 'cause you're not really rewarding the correct thing. So if
Yeah.
a dog has a clear indication, then the dog's either indicating on the correct, box or whatever box, or it's not, and that helps the handler give the dog correct information.
Yeah, and another thing to say about that is this is when I have students start this on the tins and I'm with them, I find that it goes back to, like, they don't want the dogs to be wrong. They wanna help the dogs. "Ah, I want the dog to be right." You need to not do anything. Like, you cannot move. You cannot start walking toward the pile. You can't like, this is what they do. Like, just be patient. Let the even if the dog goes to the right tin, even if you have not taught that distinct indication, like a nose touch or anything, your dog, give them a second. They will do something when they find it. They will absolutely bump it with their nose. They'll push the box. Some of them lay down, like you've never even taught it. They'll do that. They'll lay down and stare at it. They will do something, but don't be so quick to jump in and help them or move. People start moving. They start walking toward the pile. Oh my God, just relax. Just let the dog figure it out.
Yeah. Don't micromanage.
basically.
and understand that, like, they have good noses and they'll figure
Yes,
it out, but as soon as we start intervening, they're
yes,
gonna start looking at us, and then they're gonna go
yes,
into thinking mode, right? And then they're gonna go,
yes.
"Ah, I need to solve this problem. Mm, um,
Let me
you know,
watch mom.
yeah, let me watch because they're giving me information, right? Because that's
Yes,
all we do is we're giving information and they're looking at us to interpret what it means. I
right.
don't wanna be part of this. I have nothing to do with this. This is on you, buddy. You're on your own. I'm just gonna sit over here on the side. You're gonna do your thing. I'm not even gonna, like, make eye contact. I'm gonna look off to the side and watch out of the corner of my eye because I don't wanna inadvertently give you any information, right? I'm just
Yep,
gonna let you figure it out.
yep,
And if you leave the pile, I'm gonna let you leave the pile, and if you and you'll wander you'll end up back there, you'll wander your
yep,
way back over there, right? And eventually you'll figure it out. So, the dogs typically figure this process out really fast. I add a lot of tins, like, I want there to be at least, like, 20 because, again, I want it to be scenting. So, the more there are, the more the dog's gonna rely on their nose and not try to guess where did you put it or guess a pattern or it's just
yep,
like this huge pile of things, right? It's haphazard and you need to always move where you put the I should say that. You should need to always put the scented container like somewhere different, right?
yep, yep.
And the dog should be you should see the dog like just, solving the problem. Now sometimes, you know, if the dog's not finding it as fast as you think it should, too bad. Sit tight, right? You don't know
Yeah,
what's going on.
yes,
Let it figure it out, right?
right.
Um, I think it's hard for us. Well, one, because we're micromanagers, but also two, because we don't understand scent and we are not smelling what they're smelling and we're not experiencing what they're experiencing. We're kind of like panicking, right?
Right.
So you need to just what you should be doing is just relax and observe and find it entertaining and say, "Hey, what can I learn from this?" Right? Like, "Huh, why didn't my dog go there? That's interesting." Right?
Mhm.
Have that approach to it because you will start to learn and you will by observing and taking in that information, you're going to start to see patterns.
Yeah.
Um so pretty quickly, the food is gone. I have a lot of articles out there. And then as soon as they're doing that, fine, they're going everywhere with me. I'm
Yep.
doing them outside because I love the fact that the wind and the
Yeah.
air and I'm doing them in the grass. I'm doing them on my driveway. I'm doing them in the training building, outside the training building, at work, like as many different locations. So the dog's generalizing as quickly as possible the scenting, the searching behavior on these
Mhm.
things,
Mhm.
items,
Yep.
right? Um, and then like as soon as a dog makes a mistake, my students will go, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna simplify and only put 4 things out there." I'm like, "Oh my God, no, just
Yeah.
do it
Right.
again. Just do it again. The dog will be fine."
Yes, let
"Oh,
them
my
do
dog
it.
got distracted. It's too hard." "No, it's not. Just do it again. You'll be fine.
Well,
We'll
this is the
figure it out."
beauty of the tins, is that this is where you want them to learn how to work in distraction and in pressure. Like, that's the beauty of it because they're not doing, they're not on the actual formal exercise of doing articles. This is where let them figure it out in distractions. Put your shit out there. They can't be wrong, right? Like, so they didn't, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, they're not messing anything up. Like, and this is where, like, the tins are so beautiful because of that. Like, like, with Salty, as soon as he was on the tins and he was I mean, literally after, like, seriously 1 session that they know what the hell the game's about. Like, that's so
It's
innate
so
to them.
innate.
It's ridiculous. And as soon as I've done it for a couple days with the puppies, I don't care, like, who's around, I don't care what's on the ground, I don't care who's coming in the door. Like, I'm purposely making it so that it's hard because it's just finding scent on a stupid box. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, let them work it out on the tins. Like, that's the beauty of the tins, having that skill. You can always fall back on it.
Yeah, and talking about falling back, like, a lot of times with students, what I've done this with my own dogs, like, at some point, no matter how well trained and how experienced your dog is, they're gonna develop an article problem at some
Yep,
point. Who knows
yep,
why? I don't know, I'm not a dog. Who
right.
knows what happens? I don't really know, it doesn't really matter, right? So I find they're struggling, just go pull my tins back out,
Yep,
right? Pull them back out, use my tins for a week or 2, they get their confidence back, they're having a
yep,
blast, they're like, "Oh, yeah, I remember this. Oh, yeah, this is a fun game. This is so cool." Go back, do my articles are fine again, right? So, so this is a tool, like, this is just a great thing you can use forever. So I use it, with distractions. I'll have people, I'm like, put other stuff around the pile, like do all, put it in lines, horizontal lines, vertical lines, circles. Just keep changing it up, challenging, make it challenging, 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 challenging. And
yep,
your dog will just get more and more confident.
yep,
Once I get through all that, then basically I flip them so that the open side is up. I'll scent and well, first I'll put articles out in the pile and they just ignore them, right? Because they don't
yeah,
even know what they are. So they're like, this is a scenting exercise. There's articles out here, whatever. They're irrelevant. I'm going to find, right? So this gets rid of the whole problem people have when they teach regular articles straight up is a lot of times dogs will just grab them because they confuse it with a dumbbell and then they tie them down, and then the dog pulls it off the mat and all this craziness. That's not an issue because they're just out there and they're a non-issue. I'll put 1 or 2 out, dog ignores it. I'll put 6 or 7 out, dog ignores it, right? Then
right.
I'll scent a tin, scent an article, put the scented article on top of the scented tin. As soon as the dog gets there, yes, go and reinforce. No, the dog does not have to pick it up immediately. "Oh, he didn't pick it up." Of course he didn't, he doesn't know what the fuck you want, right? So dogs indicating the article, which is on the tin, and at some point, I'll just say, "Get it." Like,
Yep,
"Pick it up." Dog picks it
yep,
up. "Oh, good dog." Dog figures that
right,
out very quickly. And as soon as dog's doing that for a couple sessions, I like to scent a tin first because then the dog's like, oh, we're doing that game. Then I'll just scent an article without a tin, put it out there. Dog gets to it. I don't care if it doesn't pick it up immediately. I immediately say, yes, that's correct. And then once the dog
yep,
understands that, I'll say, pick it up. Then I'll say, yes. And then I'll start fading the tins away and and just do the articles, right? Now, again, is that to say that's the only method? No, like I did the around the clock method for years. It worked beautifully. It was not a problem until later, right? So if that method works for your dog, go for that method. If your instructor has another method, go for that method. But if you're doing a method and you're like, I don't think this is working or I don't like how this is turning out, it's not the only way. Do something else. Like,
true, very
I hate when instructors are like, "This is the only way to do it. No, this method is better. No, oh,
right,
for God's
right,
sakes. You
right.
know, stop.
There's more than one way to skin a cat, buddy.
Always, always.
Yep,
The key is relax about it. Observe your dog. Take this as an opportunity to let the dog teach you about odor, right? Let
right,
the dog teach you about how it's interpreting the situation.
right,
Use it as a opportunity to become better at figuring out what's happening.
yep,
Why did my dog just do that? If you're not sure, then, ask somebody for help, take video, or sometimes you will never know the answer, but sometimes somebody can help you see the answer. But don't be in such a rush to be like, no, that's wrong, no, that's wrong,
right.
because whoo, there's a whole lot of scenarios where the dog's actually not wrong. And here, this is what kills me about the whole do it wrong thing, right? My dog has picked up the correct article. I told them it was wrong, and then I realized I was wrong,
Yes. Oh god.
right?
Myself in
And
the
that is always such a good wake-up call for me because it's like, "See, you
you fucking
idiot."
idiot.
Like, don't tell them they're wrong
Right.
unless you're 300% sure,
100%.
and maybe even then, you might just wanna give them another try first, and then if
Egg.
they do it wrong again, then change something in your training,
Yep.
right?
Something going on.
Because something's going on. But, like, s like and when I do it wrong, unless you have Zana, like, no then people just go, "Oh, I messed up. Oh, well, yeah, whatever."
Right.
But when our dog makes a mistake, we freak the hell out.
Freak.
Like, it's like,
Oh god.
"Stop. Get a grip." Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, especially with scent. I mean, if you do nose work, holy cow, you will learn that we know nothing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the dog can be, like, in odor, like, a fair distance away from where the tin is, right? Nowhere near the tin, like, "Oh, I'm in odor, I smell it, it's over here somewhere." Right? Now, if they were doing scent articles, everyone would be going like, "Ah, what are you doing over there?" Well, guess what? That's where the odor is right now. It moved over there.
Right.
Something moved it there, right? The dog is not wrong, and then eventually the dog make the dog makes its way to the tin or not. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it gets stuck because it's still learning, right? But the dog is not wrong. The dog isn't off doing its own thing. Um, the dog is correct. You don't know what the odor's doing because you can't see it and because our noses suck. We can't smell anything. Although, super random fact, I read this, I don't know if it was an article or what it was one time. So fucking interesting. Part of what happens with humans is we rely on the senses that in this society are dominant, like vision, right? And listening, auditory. We don't really need to smell that much, not to survive. It's not that important. Like, oh, that smells good, that smells bad, but that's about it, right? So they did a study somewhere where they buried, I know this is going to sound crazy, but they buried I can't tell you what it was. I wanna say it was chocolate, but I could be wrong. Something that smelled. A certain amount underground, not very far. Like, if let's say I'm probably totally butchering this, but here's the concept. They buried stuff, and then they had people just smell, like, so close your eyes, just smell, and they actually could smell it. Which I found fascinating. So the whole point is just we're just not we could actually probably smell more than we think we can, not like a dog, I don't but we just don't do that.
Right. That's
We just
fascinating.
don't yeah, but for dogs, all they do is smell, right? And obviously their sense of smell is much more advanced than ours, but, yeah, so anyway, we don't know what the hell we're doing. They do. So, you know, if you're smart, you will let them err on the side of believing them and
That's
just
right.
going, "All right, either I did something wrong, you're confused about something, I need to think about this for a while." Um,
Yes.
and sometimes there's just one last thing, like, and I had videoed this and posted it at the time. Like, one day, random, Zest couldn't find the correct article to save his life, and I did not know what the hell was going on. I think he did, like, 2 or 3 or 4 in a row wrong, dead wrong, and I was like, "I have no freaking idea what is going on. I don't even know how to fix this because I don't know what's going on." So, I did nothing, literally left it. Came back the next day, did articles, perfectly fine. That's it. I'm just saying, like, I did nothing. I didn't
Well,
fix
that's
it.
what I was saying, like, sometimes, like, you're not gonna know what it is, and sometimes, like, I don't know, just shelf it, like, it's fine.
Yeah, and I shelved it, and I was like, "I don't know what's gonna happen." And I came back, filmed it the next day, 2 articles in a row, perfect. No lack of
Don't hit
confidence, no
Yeah,
error.
well, that's where, like, people hit the panic button, and they're like, "My articles are broken, my articles are broken."
Oh
I'm like,
god,
"Oh,
yeah,
for fuck's sake, Jesus."
yeah. So, yeah, fixed it,
Okay, good.
miracle, it was a miracle. And then sometimes I just had to spend a few days or a week just pondering it, thinking about what could what could it be? What could
Yes,
all the
yes,
different things be?
right?
And then just, try a few different things to come up with the solution.
Yeah,
But most of the time, it's that we're intervening, our timing is off, and a lot of the time, we're just not rewarding it. We're just not telling them it's right,
exactly,
enough. And
exactly.
yeah. All right.
Alright, good, I'm glad we did this. This was a good one.
Okay. Well, now everyone's gonna have great articles.
Alright, thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.